Hello, my name is Greta Harrison. Welcome to Born Fabulous Podcast Season 3, Episode 15. The theme of this season is young adults with intellectual disabilities living full lives of independence and interdependence. You will hear interviews with parents, support staff, and of course the young adults with intellectual disabilities. Please note these interviews were done 1 to 2 years ago. Achieving independence is a complex journey for many individuals and families. There were many stops and starts with various entities when putting together Season 3. Regardless, this content is very relevant, and we hope you will find it helpful. This is the second of 3 episodes that feature Micah Fialka-Feldman and Katherine Sanderson. Katherine is one of Micah's support staff, a critical member of his team. Micah is well known as one of the stars of the acclaimed film Intelligent Lives. He is a teaching assistant at Syracuse University and a sought-after keynote speaker. Micah has an intellectual disability. Now, please enjoy this short clip of The Ring. The lyrics are by Melissa Riggio, a young lady who had Down syndrome and was the focus of episodes 1 through 4 in Season 1. The music and voice are by Rachel Fuller.
And so I came back to the center of the ring. Am I just a broken angel? God has sent me here to heal, to be an ordinary woman.
Let's talk about your staff. Katherine, you just mentioned, your input there. Let's go in a little bit about what your role is with Micah. But I want both of you to tell us that. Maybe Micah, you start, and then Katherine, you can jump in.
Okay, sure. My staff help me with cooking. They help me go to doctor's appointments. We take walks. We go to movies. We go to the YMCA. We just do a lot of great things together, and it's and they help me share my feelings. I hear their feelings too, and we learn how to talk to each other and set boundaries when I'm texting too much, or when I'm sending too many messages.
Okay. You mentioned a lot there. I know. I love that you said doing it together, because I know that you know how to cook, and I know that you try to cook healthy recipes, and you're very observant of your health. But you're doing it together, right?
Yeah.
They're helping you, but they're not necessarily doing it for you, correct?
Yeah.
They're doing it with you. Now, do they help you financially? Do they help you keep on top of your finances too?
I do. I have a staff person that helps me with a budget once a month that I send out to the staff to look at, and then I figure out how much money I have, and yeah.
Okay, so how many staff do you have?
Right now I have a total of 2 staff, and I have 2 paid neighbors. It means that they're on call if in case of emergency, and then I have 2 paid neighbors and 2 staff.
Okay, the paid neighbors, that means they're kind of like substitutes?
No, they're more on call if I need something in the middle of the night, and they if I need an errand, or if they want to do something, they're more on call. They don't follow the goals, or they're just, if I wanted to watch the basketball game with someone, I just go to their house. And
they receive a stipend to just sort of be available in the case of an overnight emergency, or if in this time when you don't have a roommate, then a paid neighbor can spend the night in your extra bedroom a couple of times a week to kind of give you a little bit more comfort in your home. And so it's just another layer of support for Micah. So kind of like staff, and then the paid neighbors, and obviously Micah has a ton of friends and coworkers. So they're I wouldn't say they're like outside of that, but they're kind of insulating the whole picture, I would say.
That's a great and I like that, even calling them neighbors. I like the terminology too. That's great to have that little extra layer of support. And so, Katherine, are you his main staff, or is the other person equally involved in his life?
Yeah. So Micah right now has the two of us, and it's their name is Ash, and we're doing about the same amount of hours with Micah. Micah has a set number of hours in his budget for staff per week, and Ash focuses more on the budget and financial side, and then they actually do most of the cooking together. And Micah and I do more of, oh gosh, we do all kinds of things, right? we do a lot of organizational things.
Yeah.
We take care of a lot of communication with Micah's many medical providers. We work on some household things. Like at one time, Micah and I spent an entire day organizing his office, and Micah's been really interested in learning a little bit more about housekeeping, about more of those responsibilities of being a homeowner. And so we've been working on those things. I don't know, it feels like we never have a time where we don't have something to do. So we do fun things, but we also do a lot of boring things. Micah usually has maybe in the summertime, we implemented an accordion file that Micah has, where he can put things that he wants to deal with different members of his life in labeled folders, so that we have kind of an agenda. If there's really important things to be done, then we know to check there when we start working together. Or if we want to leave a message for somebody else that's not urgent, we can put it in that space as well. Yeah.
That's a great tip for people. I like that. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah. So I came into Micah's world about a little over a year ago. I guess it was in February of last year that I started meeting with you. And I came onto the scene as Micah's parents were looking outside of the self-direction agency and outside of Micah's broker, who kind of manages the all the nitty-gritty kind of stuff, and just wanting another person with some experience to have an eye on the situation and to help kind of hold it all together, and maybe do a little bit of training for staff, things along those lines. And so that's the role that I came in to originally with Micah. And sometime in the later spring, we decided it would make sense for me to come into an actual payroll staff spot. So then my role definitely shifted then, which was fine. We had kind of moved into the new roommate time, and moved into a new staff setup, and we had several staff meetings and setting up some things. Two of the staff at that time aren't working with us anymore, and it's actually I think it's really been good. It's been streamlined. You're getting your needs met with less variation, I guess, which isn't always a bad thing. But at this time of your life, it's better just to kind of work with your two staff and your two paid neighbors.
I think that's a great example for families to hear, thinking outside of the box. And if people don't know Micah's parents, they are very forward thinking. They have been that way their whole life, and they continue to be that way. And they're still speaking globally because they are so well respected. And I love the fact that they thought outside of the box, got you for a certain purpose, for a certain time, and then incorporated you into the staff. And for those who don't know, because every state is different, New York does have a good directed support system, just like California has an excellent one, Minnesota has an excellent one, Virginia not so much, but they have an excellent support system, and that's not really true across the country. So self-advocates and families need to know that it varies from state to state. So when you're talking about your staff and your budget, it's all, and your broker, it's all under that system. I remember when I first met Micah years ago and seeing him talk about his broker, I thought he meant a stockbroker. I had no idea what he meant. I remember asking him about that later. So yeah, it's a great system that you have in New York. Okay, so Katherine, I know that you have lived in other states and you've lived in other countries. So do you want to maybe address the system that New York has in comparison?
Yeah, I've worked in 3 different systems, I guess, with adults with developmental or intellectual disability. So New York was the first, and then I actually lived in England for a year, and then out in Portland, Oregon as well. And I would say until working with Micah, I wasn't as aware of the self-direction program in New York. I was involved in more of an agency community situation. So as with most things, though, I think New York has some great forward-thinking policies and a lot of really dense bureaucratic steps that make things a little bit frustrating as well. My experience in Oregon was a little bit more, what do I want to say? If you think of the Wild West, I guess you could kind of use that illusion. It's not wild by any means, but it's just a little bit looser feeling in general than the East Coast and New York in particular. So we did have the self-direction program with independent brokers working with individuals, as well as then just the general county Department of Developmental Disabilities. So yeah, and I both worked in residential life there, and then also in a vocational program there. And so I got a really different view into the world in that role. Yeah, and it was really great to see what the different styles of living were, and also to see people being supported in employment in a way that I hadn't seen necessarily elsewhere. So it was the agency that I worked for was an opportunity for people to have job training and to go out and work in the workforce if they wanted. And some people continued to have a trainer with them as they did the job, and other people would get trained and just go on to work. So yeah.
Let me ask you this. Did Oregon have a waiting list? Does Oregon have a waiting list?
For which? For the
self-directed services?
I cannot answer that for sure.
Okay.
I can say that I valued coming into the role of an administrator. That meant that I attended all of these sort of boring team meetings where plans are made and people's lives are discussed, and I will say that the majority of those meetings were very fast-paced and non-inclusive of the individual with that the meeting was about. And any meeting that I was involved in, I really advocated for slowing down and really centering the person who was being planned for in the meeting. That's what my background had been, and my background in midwifery as well is very much about individualized care and central holistic care of a person. So yeah, I think that was good.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I asked about waiting lists because many states do have long waiting
Yeah,
lists.
I can't speak to that. That's been
Okay.
a decade plus since I was in that role. So, yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I thank you for that. And I think that it's from above that the two of you are together right now. And I think that's wonderful. You're obviously a great team. I mean, you're both even dressed in blue right now. I know this is an audio version here, but they are both dressed in blue. So
It's casual Friday. We both have blue sweatshirts and gray sweatpants on, actually.
that's right. So that's great. Now, Micah, tell me, what do you think makes a great staff person? You've got experience now.
I think like someone that knows how to work with me and knows my pace and knows how to like support me and ask me how I'm doing, and that comes to like that like shares their feelings when they have to, or like comes with a smile and comes with like that they are happy to work with me, and just like wants to help me learn and wants to help me learn of how to help me help me achieve my uh, help help like me achieve my goals and stuff.
Okay, that's a wonderful description. I love that. And maybe, Katherine, you want to throw something in here?
I think that's all true. I think the notion of somebody that is willing to match Micah's pace is probably the most important, and having people that are very much about being with Micah rather than being there for Micah, if that makes sense. So I think just being able to go slow enough or fast enough, depending on what you're doing, to be able to just to match Micah's energies, and sometimes to help bring you up if you're feeling down, or help motivate you if you're feeling like you don't have a lot of energy for something, and sometimes it's vice versa, right? We might come in dragging a little bit and you say, let's go out for a walk. I think it's just having people that are good personality matches, and that are I think also gentle with you, but know how to be firm and make boundaries in terms of personal space and personal communication and things along those lines. So mm-hmm.
That's great. I love your input. And let's talk about roommates now. What makes a good roommate? What are you looking for now that you're looking for a new roommate? What would be the ideal roommate?
Someone that wants to like cook food with me and wants to like eat dinner with me like during the week and maybe on the weekends, and like want to watch a show or go out to like a restaurant or go to like a comedy show or do something together, and like try to not like and like try to like not like cause any drama and like things to have me like really panic and stuff.
You're 38 years old. You're above juvenile drama, aren't you? Right? You're 30 years old. You're above childish drama, aren't you?
I am.
I think that the roommate that you were mentioning earlier, the medical student, he was the roommate you had back when I interviewed you back in 2020. I think.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. So you do have experience with some great roommates, and I'm sure you will have some more. Katherine, would you like to give your input on what makes a great roommate for Micah?
Yeah, I think what we've come to know and are thinking about going forward is definitely having somebody that is more available and interested in really being the type of roommate that Micah is looking for, which isn't just a roommate. It's the technical title with RCIL, which is your agency, right, is called a live-in caregiver.
Yeah.
And they're not, of course, they're not doing any sort of activities of daily living for Micah.
Yeah, no,
Micah's not in need of that sort of help, but more just helping to keep the house up and to be having dinner with you a couple nights a week, or to have brunch on Sundays, or go out and do fun things together. So that would definitely be important. And what we also, I think, all have come to agree on is that finding somebody a little bit closer to Micah's age might be good this time. Somebody that's not a student who isn't planning to necessarily move on in a year or two to their next destination. So we're putting those feelers out there for sure. Somebody that is employed elsewhere, of course, but still wants to kind of really plug in and make a home. And the other thing that Micah is thinking a little bit about is potentially having a roommate with an intellectual disability for the first time, and looking at a different, whether then there's 3 bedrooms in your place, right? You just use one of them as an office right now. So whether it would be having 2 roommates and having one as a living caregiver and another person with a disability along with you, or whether it would be just you and another person with a disability, and structuring staff differently or something. So that's probably not what you're looking for right now, but it's kind of the first time you're starting to think maybe that would be fun. Like it'd kind of be fun to have a peer to do stuff with.
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea. And I can tell you from watching all the situations that I'm watching, it's like I'm studying that. I have seen that work very well. And I know that my own daughter, who's 22 now, that's what she envisions in her future. So I can see her getting married and her spouse they're supporting each other, because we live in a state with 14,000 people on the waiting list. So we have to think that way, and I can see that being the support. So that has worked. And I think that's great that you're thinking outside of the box. So that's good. And I wish you good luck. Godspeed with that. So now let's move on to Micah. What do you think helped you be independent from the way you grew up, from when you were younger? Because you have such forward-thinking parents, supportive parents, out-of-the-box parents. What did they do when you were growing up that you think helped you be more independent?
They helped me learn how to be independent, of knowing how to join my track team and my cross country team, and join regular classes in school, and meet other friends, and they helped me know how to be more independent.
How to use your voice, right?
Yeah. How to use my voice of what I wanted, and
I think you just gave some great examples of. Do you remember what year did you graduate from high school, Micah?
2003.
Okay, so back in 2003, Micah was on the cross country team. He was on the track team. He wasn't just and there's nothing wrong with a supportive role. Let me say that right off the bat. If somebody wants to be the manager or whatever, that is fine. But I want to throw out there that you can also be on the team. And so it was forward thinking to encourage you to be on the teams, like you just said. And also you had circles of support way back in elementary school, didn't you, Micah?
I did.
That's why I always say you are the strongest example of having an amazing circle of support, because you've had it from when you were little. And it's obviously changed over the years. You obviously don't have the same people on there, and that changes. But that got you kind of in the habit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. And that helped you become the strong person that when you went to college the first time in Michigan, you were able to advocate and go to court for the right to live in a dorm.
Yeah.
And you won.
I did.
And then you went to college again in Syracuse, and that's a good thing you did because you found your home there, right?
I did.
Yeah. So you've definitely done a lot with your life, Micah, so far. And you're still young. So who knows what you've got ahead of you. So that's great. I love what you said about including the teams there, because that's not the typical answer I think people hear. So thank you for that. Thank you for listening to episode 15 of Born Fabulous Podcast 3rd season. I hope you enjoyed it and want to hear more. Short video clips from most episodes are available on our YouTube channel and on bornfabulouspodcast.com. In episode 16, you will hear Micah and Katherine discuss Micah's Circle of Support, goals for the future, social media, advice, sweet and funny stories, and more. Please follow and like us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd be honored if you would leave a review wherever you heard this podcast. Now, please enjoy this clip of Love is a Potion. The lyrics are by Melissa Riggio, who was the focus of Season 1, Episodes 1 through 4. The music and voice are by Rachel Fuller.